All right, IU fans. It's been a month. Darian DeVries took over as Indiana's head coach, I believe, on March 19th. I think the press conference might have been on the 20th or the 21st. And the last few weeks have been insane. We've seen a lot. I know for sure, I think over 1,000 college basketball men's players have put their name in the portal. I think it might even be more than that. I think it might be like 1,500 or so.
It's a lot.
And musical chairs, rapid fire, have been going on here for the last several weeks. And Indiana's building a roster. Darren DeVries putting some names together for his first season as Indiana's men's basketball coach. Still some work to do, but yesterday it was a nice, chill Tuesday afternoon, and then bang, we heard Lamar Wilkerson committed to Indiana over Kentucky. Of course, the Hoosiers and the Wildcats will do battle at Rupp Arena in December. So Matt and I are going to dig into Lamar Wilkerson, what he brings to the table, how excited we are that he is going to be a Hoosier this upcoming season, discuss a couple of the other portal commits that have come through Indiana's way recently, and then so much more here on episode 344 of the Hoosier Sound, where we are the official podcast of Indiana HQ. We're recording this edition of the Hoosier Sound on Wednesday, April 16th, 2025. Here I am, your host, Nathan Krishnan. With me tonight is my normal co host, Matt Lukens. Matt, I know you're going through it, but Darren DeVries will be proud of your fight here, your resilience, your perseverance. This is the kind of toughness that Darren DeVries probably wants to see in his men's basketball program. I don't know what details you want to share with the folks listening here, but with Lamar Wilkerson's commitment, you're doing what you can to be here on this podcast episode today.
I am, yes. Well, one, as you can obviously all see, I am currently outside. It's about 11 p.m. at night here in China. And my current or brand new apartment I just moved into yesterday is a current internet black hole. It has no internet in it, and cell service sucks. So I had to go outside to talk to you guys. And then on top of that, I was running a couple of days ago outside, and this is what Nathan was alluding to. I tripped and fell, and I broke a rib. So I hope that that does not happen to any of our basketball players. I actually don't wish this upon anybody because it hurts so bad. Like even talking right now hurts.
Yeah.
So I really I don't wish this upon anybody, but I'm fighting through it, and I would be less reluctant to fight through it if it wasn't for the fact that we've had back to back great news for IU basketball after a
Woo!
very slow start with transfer portal. We have some actual fun stuff to talk about. We might even have some fun stuff to talk about in football here soon with a lot of people
Mhm.
entering the portal there, and possible new additions to that roster as well. So I mean, poor and I you know we can't stop talking about portaling because the women's basketball team is getting portal recruits as
Yep.
well. I mean, everybody's the portal is
Everyone.
just insane now.
It's
It's just
crazy. It's crazy
it's
times. Well,
Nathan, just to
yeah,
sidetrack for one
you're
second.
good.
When people talked about like the portal is going to change college basketball, I was
Hmm.
like, you know, like you're probably right, but to what degree? No, I mean it's a completely different sport now. Like from when we first started doing this podcast until now, those are two completely different sports. Two completely different sports.
People used to transfer back in 2018,
They did,
2019.
but they didn't decommit from transfers. Like we just saw, what was it? Not Tate Conway. That's the guy we're recruiting.
Yeah.
The guy that went to South Carolina from what was that guy's name? There's a very highly rated point guard whose name is
Okay.
slipping my mind, but he committed to South Carolina, just decommitted from them. He's
Oh,
I
I
forget
know.
his name. Don't
I'll
say his
find.
name; it's gonna piss me off. But you have people going door to door. basically in these programs and getting prices rising up. Sorry. It's freaking insane. Sorry, Noah. It's gonna have to edit that out. But it's freaking insane. Really, really, really is crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy times.
Trayson Eaglestaff is the player you're talking about,
There it is.
who left South Carolina after his big conference tournament game uh, back in March. Um, Lamar Wilkerson, Matt. I mean, how exciting is it for Indiana to get a bigger mid-major guard? That's one quality of his that separates him immediately from some of the other mid-major players that make that move, that transfer up to the Power Six level. Wilkerson's a 6'4" combo guard, shooting guard. You can sort of whatever. He's a backcourt player. He's a
He's
guard.
a two guard. He's
Yeah,
a two
he's a
guard.
guard. Sam Houston State also played at Three Rivers Community College for a
Yeah,
year.
he's a community college kid. Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if you know this, Matt. I don't know if anyone really put this online yesterday. There's a pretty famous NBA alum from Three Rivers Community College who played in the NBA in like the 90s and the 2000s, played college basketball in Alabama. Do you want to give it a shot, Matt? He's a guard, similar size, a little bit bigger than a little bit bigger than Lamar Wilkerson.
Played college basketball in Alabama.
Yes. NBA
Oh
guy,
God.
Timberwolves, Knicks,
I have no idea.
Latrell Sprewell was
Oh,
Three Rivers College alum, and that's where Lamar Wilkerson played college
that's
basketball
a good
for a
point.
year before going to
That's a good
Sam Houston State. Yeah, a little blast from the past. By the way, Three Rivers College in Missouri, not in Pittsburgh, as you might think. That's out in Missouri, and then Sam Houston State in Bearcat Country with a K in Texas. Um,
point. Yeah.
Wilkerson now a Hoosier, 20 points per game
Yeah.
at Sam Houston State, 6 3-point attempts per game as well, a robust 44% from downtown. But as Lamar Wilkerson told Jeff Goodman on Tuesday afternoon on the field of 68, he's gunning for 50%.
Yeah.
Not someone to set the bar at a reasonable level, I guess. Lamar
Yeah.
Wilkerson, he's
Who
shooting for
who
50. So look, it came down to Indiana and Kentucky, Matt. This is somebody who isn't flawless. He definitely is going to have to make some improvements on the defensive side of the ball. But immediately I could see an enthusiastic player, an optimistic player, an energetic player, someone who has the right mindset to get Indiana basketball up another level or two compared to where it's at right now. Huge win for Darian DeVries. I I think Lamar Wilkerson might be my favorite player on this team right now.
I mean, I'd be I usually agree with you on that, but I really like Tucker DeVries. I think people really, really, really have just completely
Yeah.
not even a misunderstanding of his commitment, but totally just disregarded the fact that Tucker DeVries is one of the better players in all of college basketball. And he's playing for his dad's system. So he's going to be put in good positions to win. Like, I don't know, that guy's going to be dope. But I mean, speaking of of DeVries, right? And speaking of Tucker, like Wilkerson is maybe the second best shooter in the portal behind Tucker. Maybe the best shooter in the portal, and Tucker follows him. I mean, the two best pure shooters in the entire portal are now going to be playing for your Indiana Hoosiers next season, and that is enough to get me super excited and walking around my apartment complex at 11:30 at night watching DD drivers deliver food. Um, and so yeah, no, I'm super gassed for this. I mean, you mentioned he needs to work on his defense. I'm not gonna lie, I've watched some of his tape. It's not bad. His
Sure.
defense is actually pretty serviceable. He just didn't have a lot of help on a
Yeah,
team that went
fair enough.
13 and 17. In the what the not Sun Belt,
Conference USA
the
last year, last couple years.
Conference USA. Yeah, in the Conference USA, oh, that's right, they're in Conference USA because I
And
played
that
with
is
them
a
in the
tougher
NCAA
mid-major
football team.
league too.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's a tough league. And he's done extremely well on a pretty subpar Sam Houston team. I mean, he he was pulling a lot of weight and taking a lot of shots and scoring a lot of points for a team that needed him to do that last year, and he did that at a very a very efficient level, right? Like in a very efficient way, which is extremely impressive to me. Just based off the volume, I mean, like when he took like almost 7 3 pointers a game, or a little over seven
Yeah.
3 pointers a game, shot 44% from three. Like that is absurd. And I'm sorry, people were like, "Well, I'm not sure he's going to be able to get those opportunities at a higher, in a higher conference." Heck yeah, he did. He lit up IU when we played them last year. Um, so he's gonna be fine. And when you look at some of the pieces we're kind of putting around him, I think he might be one of the best players in all of college basketball next year. Like you look at every single year for the last 3 or 4 years, there's been one transfer from a low major or a mid major conference that has popped up to the P5 and has just taken off, right? Like from a scoring perspective. Uh, you know, Dalton Connect is one that
Oh yeah.
immediately pops off my head.
Walter
Um,
Clayton, last couple years.
Walter Walter Clayton the last couple of years. Who's the Chaz Lanier? Both
Chaz
of them went to
Lanier.
Tennessee. Dalton Connect and Chaz Lanier, but Chaz Lanier, bunch of these guys who scored a brick ton of points at their previous school, and then went up to the Power Five level and were surrounded with good teammates and a good system that fits them and gave them a lot of shots, and they did very well, and continued, or Dalton Connect's case almost exceeded his previous numbers.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
I'm thinking about Jalen Pickett too. Remember Jalen Pickett went from Siena to Penn State?
Jalen Pickett. Well, we're going to talk about Jalen Pickett because I think IU might have a very similar player in what he will bring to IU when we talk about Connerway. I think Jalen Pickett and Connerway, those are two guys not very well known for their shooting, known for their passing, known for their defense. And I think both of those. I think that comp is very applicable to that. And I'm super excited for Conway if we can get him. But anyways, that's besides the point. But yeah, I mean, like every single year there's a group of guys that come through and go up this level. I'd put my bank account that that Wilkerson is among that group when all things are said and done.
Hey, Connor Enright just tweeted we're not done yet. Um, a gif of we're not done yet. So I'm just like, we have
There's
no news here. I
dude,
mean, of course, we
there's
do a lot of, I run Indiana HQ. We've been credentialed and all this before, but like, I don't have any actual news. But there's just a lot of smoke right now that I feel like could hit this episode here within the next, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe. Wilkerson, it's funny you talked about Pickett with Connerway, if that happens. But I look at Wilkerson and it's shocking how identical, I'll say strongly similar, Wilkerson's profile is to Chaz Lanier. Because like we've talked about Lanier now a couple of times in the first, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. From the
mm-hmm.
physical qualities, the height, the size, the twitchiness, the speed, to the statistics, as you look at shooting percentage and shots taken and free throws taken and rebounds and assists and steals, to just like the story, right? Chaz Lanier, North Florida, mid-major, but like the lower part of the mid-major spectrum, to making a smooth transition to the University of Tennessee, where he was all conference second team in the best conference in college basketball this past season. If Lamar Wilkerson can be all conference, any of the three teams, I'll be extremely happy. And remember, Indiana did not have an all Big Ten representative this past season, even though they had some solid contributions from players like Umar Ballo, Malik Renew. It just wasn't good enough to be a top 15 player in the 18 team Big Ten. Lamar Wilkerson caught a lot of attention yesterday when he went on the field of 68. Plenty of quotes that caught people's mind, that definitely grabbed interest. I'll be honest with you, Matt. Indiana hasn't accomplished jack in about 8 years, and there were a
Yeah,
lot of butthurt fan bases in Indiana HQ's mentions yesterday, all
of
day, all day. And
course.
I'm just saying, like, if Darren DeVries can get this thing on the tracks just a little bit, I mean, we're talking, consistently back in the NCAA tournament, a 3-4 win improvement to where you're getting 22 plus wins a season. Um,
Hmm.
I remember Tom Crean said this a lot. Like when he was building Indiana back up across like 09, 2010, 2011, he was like, a lot of people want to see Indiana down. A lot of people don't want to
Yeah.
see Indiana do well. And I was like,
Mm.
come on. Like, you don't think of yourself to be more important than you actually are. But then over the
Yeah,
course
true.
of time, you kind of see it. You kind of see it fester and you see it develop and you see it take place on social media. A lot of people want Indiana to continue missing tournaments. And I'm talking about people who root for North Carolina and Duke and Louisville. Forget our Big Ten rivals. I mean, Kentucky fans obviously irate over losing Lamar Wilkerson to
Well,
to
haha,
the
Kentucky
Hoosiers,
fans.
but like it's shocking to see. I was kind of cracking up on my couch yesterday, just seeing all these folks so annoyed and so upset that a quality player would go play in front of 17,000 people a night and millions of engaged followers on social media. I don't know. I guess that carries some weight nowadays, wouldn't you say, Matt?
I would hope so. It always should have. But also, like, I mean, it's easy to punch down. Like, all of those
Yeah.
programs were up. I mean, you saw IU fans. I mean, not me. I mean, hand up, not me. But you saw some people in, the last couple of years when Louisville has been
Yeah.
putrid. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, I've seen a ton of IU fans just punching down, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, last year in the Bahamas, they beat us by 75
Yeah.
and they have a great season. And now they wanna punch down because
Yeah.
we fired our
Like
coach
don't forget,
and
don't
now we're
forget.
down. Like let's not be throwing stones in glass houses over here at Louisville fans. But I mean, obviously, I understand Kentucky fans being mad, and then
Sure.
North Carolina fans. I mean, they have to just be mad at the world at this point. I mean, they haven't been this really irrelevant as a program since before Jordan got there.
Hmm.
Um, and then you have Duke as the number one overall seed. I mean, that sucks for them. It really does. Really, really, really. Just for that specifically that North Carolina fan base. I mean, it just really so. I'm just so sorry. Whatever. Anyways, I have a bone
It's
to pick with
crazy.
that
It's
fan base,
crazy to
but
see. Yeah. It's just funny.
but
I'm just like,
it's
wow.
just. But like, I mean, that's what's happened. We've gone from will DeVries do anything in the portal,
Yeah.
and then about a week later, we've gone to we're gonna buy the whole dang portal. It doesn't matter. Every player, I don't care. They're gonna be in a Hoosier uniform. you know and it's that kind of momentum has spread over to football where like basically
Yeah.
I've seen people tweet about under every single portaler in football
Hoosier.
Hoosier,
Hoosier.
which I'm like okay, cool, but not everybody can be. I mean, not
Well,
everyone is willing to play for Coach Sig.
and I do notice, at least with DeVries, well, Signetti too, but like DeVries, especially like in his first month on the job, he is recruiting to a plan. He's recruiting to a vision. The resources
No, he's
help.
he's building a team. He's building a straight up a team, the pieces that fit together. I mean, this is I'm sorry I took over your point, but
Oh,
we kind of
go
saw
for
this
it.
with the Woodson team that last summer when they were putting all of these pieces together. We're like, who the heck's the two guard on
How does
this
this fit?
roster? How does this fit? These guys don't really shoot three pointers all that well. Okay, Luke Goody's coming. What position does he play? Him and Ibaka play the same position. Is that going to be okay? Will they be able to play on the floor together? What does Trey Galloway do on this team? Okay, Omar Ballo rebounds the ball, but he doesn't shoot free throws. Will he be a good free throw shooter at IU? Probably not. Will that fix IU free throw troubles? Probably not. So what's happening here, right? Like, but then you look down at every piece, and I'm going to include Connerway in this, by the way.
Sure.
At every piece that DeVries has added, you know, and right, defense, passing, all right, table setting point guard, awesome, great. Wilkerson, knockdown, lethal shooter and scorer, can play a little bit of defense, does a little bit of everything. Maybe one of the best players, if not the best player on the roster. Um, then you have DeVries, again, one of the best players in the country. We're going to talk about it in a second because I'm going to bring it up. But a guy that can do it all on offense, and maybe he's not the best defender, but he's a willing defender. So
Right.
that's good. You have Reed Bailey, right? A
Oh my
big
gosh.
that
Yeah.
can shoot and pass. I'm a little bit nervous about his defense and his physicality and his ability to become a Big Ten big. Um, and I also don't know what his position is. I don't know if he's a four. I don't know if he's a five. I don't know if he's going to be guarding fours. I don't know if he's going to be guarding fives. Like I don't know exactly where he fits, but we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Connerway, defender, fantastic distributor of the ball,
Yeah.
great cutter. I mean, all of these guys fit together
Yeah. They
so well.
they totally do. And I'm even thinking with Reed Bailey, you have someone who's a good pass. Like he can pass out of a 6'10" frame. He can attack from the perimeter, he can attack from the paint. I think as DeVries continues to strategize in the portal over the next several weeks, getting wings, getting a big that can just, forget even the scoring piece of it, protect the rim, grab rebounds, foul as needed. The post, the big man in the post especially has never been a main feature of Darren DeVries offense, so it's not going to be that way at Indiana. Like that, those times are done, folks. Like just to make that
That's
perfectly
music to
clear,
my ears.
like
Music to my
those
ears.
times are done. I don't know if Indiana's going to throw a pass into the post all season coming up.
Well,
Like
well,
it depends on what happens
well,
here over the next few weeks, but Indiana basketball is moving into 2025
well.
where guards are going to run the show, big, versatile, dynamic players who can do multiple things. Your 6'10" forward can shoot the three, he can move the ball, he can make the right reads, distribute as needed. Indiana's going to be very switchable, especially on the perimeter. Again, we'll see what happens over the next few weeks. Indiana still has to add 3 or 4 rotation pieces to this roster, but long gone are the days of dumping the ball into the block and trying to score 2 points at a time. Like those days are done.
I'm about to say, I don't think we'll dump it into any bigs in the post. But you know what we might see a little bit of
Oh,
this year,
sure.
Justin?
Sure, 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 sure.
We might see a little bit of booty ball
A
this
little booty
year.
ball. Sure.
A little
Fair enough.
booty ball with Connerway. Yes, sir.
Oh,
Might
I could even see
might
Tucker
might get
DeVries
Tucker
at
DeVries
six
doing a little,
seven.
which is what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Which is that I went down that list of all the players that are currently on the roster. I haven't talked about Trent Sisley, who
Yep.
looks like he's a better prospect every single day. I see this guy. Every single clip I see of this dude, he's getting better all the time. He's been rising so much for me. He killed it at Montverde, and that's like obviously a great sign.
Hmm.
As as that is one of the best places to play college basketball, or sorry, high school basketball
Hmm.
in the country. But I mean, he's killed it. And then you talk about Luke Goody. Goody's such a good shooter and really such a a vital piece of this program if he can come back. We haven't even talked about them, but everybody we talked about, all the transfers, all the former Drake guys,
Yeah,
right? All all of all of the new additions, they're all fantastic passers. All of them.
it's so great.
All of them are great passers. Even Wilkerson
Oh
has
yeah,
a decent assist
yeah,
percentage, but I mean, Conway is one of the best passers in the portal. Enright is one of the best passers in the portal.
yep,
Uh, Reed Bailey, for his size,
yes.
was
90,
running
98th
point.
percentile passer for his size.
Yeah, for his size, 98% of Tucker DeVries last year didn't have great assist numbers because he was mostly running off the
It's a
ball and
small
taking lots
sample
of
too.
shots.
Yeah,
And it was a very small sample. But when he was at Drake,
yeah,
he was running the offense,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
The ball went through him. So you have another dude that can run the offense out there. That's you have a lineup of if you have a lineup of a theoretical lineup, which is very possible by the way, of Enright at point guard,
Yep,
Wilkerson at the two guard, uh, Conway as kind of like a point forward,
yep,
uh, DeVries at the four,
yep.
and Bailey at the five. Of
Control.
five guys that can pass, shoot, move the ball, and I don't know how you guard that lineup. Like legit, I
Yeah,
don't know.
and then they'll have to figure out how to guard people on the other side. But
Yeah,
that's what the next 6 months are for. And so you sort of figure that part out. We'll talk more about DeVries here, Lamar Wilkerson, coming up here in just a sec. But first, real quick, folks, it's time for Who Won the Week this past week in IU sports. And it's been a bumpy season for baseball and softball this spring, but we're going to tip our cap to a few players here. Brianna Copeland, who's been an amazing feature on the IU softball team, set the IU home run record for the program this past week. So shout out to
yeah,
her. She's been an awesome player to watch during her time at Indiana. Taylor Minnick, Edgewood High School, set the program record and runs batted in for IU softball. So that's wonderful to see. And then Devin Taylor on the baseball side, who's going to be a very high pick in the Major League Baseball draft. He tied the IU program record for home runs. I believe he hit his 46th or 47th on Tuesday against Indiana State. So happy to see DT keep things rolling along this season. The baseball team has had a rough one this season,
yeah,
but
not been the best.
Jeff Mercer will turn things
He'll
around.
fix it.
I am fairly confident in his
I
in his
saw
managerial abilities.
I saw a quote from him recently that just kicked me. He's a baseball. I think he said something like "baseball is baseballing us,"
Yeah,
which
yeah, I
I
saw
was
that too.
I was like, is baseball not supposed to be baseballing you? It's baseball.
But at the
I
same
got.
time, I understood. I got it.
I know exactly what he's saying, but, but
It's
just
hard.
out of context,
Yeah.
baseball is baseballing us.
Yeah.
The
Like
heck does
cool.
that?
Like what edibles are you having? Yeah, look, at the end of the day for Mercer, I think it's important for folks to remember it's very, very, very difficult to build a successful college baseball program outside of SEC country and
Yeah,
California.
yeah,
Um, the fact that Indiana baseball through Tracy Smith and through Jeff Mercer have done a solid job putting up consistent NCAA tournament seasons. It's a testament to what they're doing in the program. A bad year isn't reason to fire anyone. So IU baseball turned things around soon enough. But just wanted to give a shout out to those three folks doing the thing on the diamond. A reminder, folks, if you like what you're listening, if you enjoy our show, leave us a review over on Apple Podcasts. Tell a friend, share our links. That kind of support really helps us grow this podcast and reach more passionate IU fans such as yourself. Again, you can find us social media at Indiana HQ, at the Hoosier Sound. I see those of you who are following us. If you already do, again, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a stranger, help them join the masses here over on social media. A lot of quotes from Lamar Wilkerson on the field of 68. He gave a scouting report on himself, saying you can expect to see a good dude that's all in. He likes to think he's electric and plays with passion, maybe even too much passion. Wilkerson said he has a different chip on his shoulder. Nothing was ever handed to him, which is very true when you think about high school, JUCO, D1. Um, Now he's at one of the premier basketball programs in college, in Division One, especially here now with the Indiana Hoosiers. I liked his comments as far as defense is concerned. He said, previous coaches along the way have instilled in him, look, you can score 30, but if the guy you're guarding scores 35, you end up with the loss. So, I really like seeing that type of mindset from Lamar Wilkerson as well. And and now, you definitely think he's going to step in here in a starting role,
Ah,
especially,
yeah, yeah. Especially if you're gonna be, especially if you're gonna be
especially when
paying
you,
him
I
close
went
to
game by
$3 million.
game. I went game by game over the last couple of years. He's been pretty effective against power conference opposition too. I do like to see that. Whenever a mid-major player commits to Indiana, hey, what'd you do against Baylor? What'd you do against Pitt? What'd you do against Indiana? Matt, you talked about the head-to-head matchup. I always crack up every year during the quad three, quad four non-conference home games. We sit here and go, could some of these be recruiting visits? Like, could they actually be, yeah, serving a
This
purpose
was
of
this year.
getting a
This was
guy on
this
the radar? And Wilkerson had 18 points against Indiana. Of course, Indiana won the game, but Wilkerson was feisty, and it always felt like he was one of those mid-major guards you watched. You're like, man, I would like to see a guard play with that type of freedom and that type of scoring ability at Indiana. And look, that's exactly what the Hoosiers were able to do. IU plays Kentucky on December 20th at Rupp Arena, Matt.
That's gonna be feisty.
It's
It's
kind of a
already gonna be
crappy college
feisty
basketball
anyways.
atmosphere, to be honest with you, at Rupp. I think
Yeah,
they'll be pretty
but
hostile for that one. You feel
yeah,
that?
I mean they're gonna be hostile anyways because it's Indiana, and no matter how much success that program has, they can't live and breathe without us. So that vitriol coming back will be nice. I mean that game's gonna be fun.
Oh
That game's
yeah.
gonna be like from I'm gonna take my IU glasses off for a second. Indiana, Kentucky is always fun to watch,
Yes, for sure.
but also Indiana, Kentucky, when they're both running a very offensive minded system, like it's going to be good basketball. Like it's going to be a fun watch as a neutral. It's going to be painful for us to watch, I'm sure, but
The last
it'll
thing,
be
yeah.
it'll be good basketball. Pope's teams play good basketball. DeVries teams play good basketball.
I hope so. I hope it's a good game, Matt, because all I've seen over the last couple seasons is Indiana fans traveling to places all over America, losing game by 20 points. So,
Yeah, that Kansas game stung.
Marquette, Kentucky, and Louisville all on the slate in this non-conference schedule, and all three games are not at Assembly Hall. So, like,
They got to get one at Assembly Hall next year. They got
I'm
to.
not
It's the
I'm not
and it can't be
desperate.
South
I'm not saying
Carolina.
Indiana has to even win one of those games, but I can't stand 20-point losses. I'm done with those. I'm
Fair.
done with those. Compete, play hard. If you lose a close game, I'll swallow. I'll stomach that, but don't get crushed. Wilkerson did have a sentence that really poked the bear. It felt like with the Big Blue Nation. Wilkerson said it was a pleasure to be recruited by Kentucky, but he didn't want to go to Kentucky and just be another guy.
I
Essentially,
don't
Wilkerson
understand.
saying, "Hey, he wants to go to Indiana, be a feature, be a factor, be a featured player, be a significant contributor." Who can blame him?
I don't understand why that would poke the bear at all.
It triggered him
I mean, I don't know why
big
that would
time.
trigger them though, because like
I don't know if he's the
that's
right type
that's
of guy for us then, if this is what he thinks.
dude. Kentucky fans have the combined IQ of 75. Like he was just complimenting how good your team is, and also like how consistent you guys are, and how they have always have good players, and like he wants to be the main guy. I don't
Took it the
understand that,
wrong
but
way.
whatever. Also, just get your money up, dog. Like straight up. Like if you're gonna complain about him not committing to your program, we dropped a bag on him. Get your bag up. Get your money straight. That's it.
That's all you got to do. Um, Anything noteworthy, Matt, from the way DeVries is recruiting? Is there anything surprising to you? Is there anything that's not surprising to you? Anything you're frustrated with? Anything you want to make an observation about? Because I have one or two things on top of my mind. But Darren DeVries' first month on the job, portal life is crazier than ever. There was supposed to be a decision for rev share and this type of stuff on April 7th. It got pushed back. Any thoughts as far as Darren DeVries' first month in the portal coming from your side of things?
I would say there's a couple observations I have. One, um, the first observation had came to dismay of a lot of IU fans and was part of why a lot of IU fans panicked originally. Well, which is that he's not afraid to compete with the big dogs for recruits. He's not afraid to swing and miss, which I think is good for a coach. I mean, you saw that right with a lot of the more recent commitments that didn't go IU's way. You especially saw that with Conwell, right? He's not afraid to go in
Yep.
and play his best hand and see if it see if he rolls you know uh pocket aces, right? Like
Yeah,
he's
and
not
just
afraid to go and fight with the big boys.
butting in on one thing with Ryan Conwell, like you can be upset that he went to Louisville. What I would say to that is, if I'm Ryan Conwell, I would go to Louisville just because Pat Kelsey clearly clearly got things rolling quickly in year one. He won the head-to-head game against Indiana um, in lopsided fashion on a neutral site. Clearly, guards can thrive in Louisville's system, and then Pat Kelsey's previous system in Charleston. If all else is equal, you're going to go to Louisville over Indiana as things stand right now.
Yeah, I mean it also again helps when they drop a bigger bag than IU. It just helps,
It
right? It
all
just
makes a difference.
money talks, and that's what's talking in the portal. But yeah, okay. So first off, he's not afraid to compete with the big boys.
Yeah,
Great, that ticks box number one. I felt like actually a lot of times under Woodson, yeah, he would go and get one big portal commit, but then I felt like he just kind of shied away from a lot of the other guys, didn't take it quite too seriously, and if he saw a bunch of big programs surrounding these players, it almost felt like he would back down, right? Because he would be like, I'm not doing this thing or whatever. Um, so that's just a nice change of pace. Two, uh, I originally and obviously through the commits that I've committed, I thought he was going to key in on shooting, which he has, right?
sure.
We got a bunch of good shooters. What I did not expect was that was going to be the second thing he
Yeah,
prioritized, which was the first thing he prioritized was passing.
yeah,
Everybody, and we talked about it earlier, but everybody he's recruited is a good, able, willing passer.
yep,
All of them. All of them. This is going to be a completely unselfish team. Now, it does help that a lot of them are damn good shooters, too, for
yep.
their position and their size. But most of the guys, if not all of them, including the ones we have coming in and maybe are staying, are
Yeah.
all very willing passers of the basketball, which will create a very good team environment. And lastly, he's building a team. You look up and down
Yeah.
at the people he's and the pieces he's putting together and what he's going and the type of player he's targeting and which ones he already has and which ones he's had visiting now, which ones he had visited in the past, and you go put them all together like little Legos pieces. You can kind of see what he wants for every single position, for every single role on the roster. You can see he wants a passing point guard who on defense pesters the living crap out of the other defense. Okay, check. I'll probably have that in Carlin. You have a backup point guard that knows his system, has brother goes to IU, and is a table setting point guard and a guy that can come in and be a pest on defense as well. You got that in right. You've got your star player, who's your son, who's a do it all forward on offense in
Yep.
DeVries. You've got a do it all star guard, lights out shooter in Wilkerson. Got that. You've got a mobile, versatile big that can do a ton of different things and shoot the ball. Check, got that in Bailey. And then you got a young wing in Sisley that
Yep.
could be a guy, and you probably have a returning player in Goody that can shoot the crap out the ball and is a willing defender, right? And tries,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
That's a great rotation to me. Then that's not even. We need another big or two. You need another probably two guard or two more, like a
Oh yeah.
combo. Like there's so much more left. But then you go and you look at that. You had the was it the North Florida guy that visited today,
Josiah Miles.
right?
Yeah.
Josiah Miles. You had in the past we had Elijah Freeman,
Yes.
who's a
Yes. Yes.
wing
Yes.
that in a project that kind of uh, he visited. Like if you look up and down the roster at all these different kind of guys, now you can kind of see okay, he wants to run a 9 to 10 man rotation, right? Or maybe even an 8 9 man rotation. Okay, well, we got like 6 guys in the roster right now that are going to be a part of that, at least. You
For
can add
sure.
Goody, maybe 7. So you're
Right.
looking at maybe a big that's left, and you got your main guys, and then the rest of these guys are young guys who are going to try to stay in the program for a while, and he's going to
Yep.
try to build them up, or guys that he might take a swing on that are, maybe are coming from the JUCO level. Maybe they're coming from even the D2 or D3 level. Guys that, have talent, just haven't put the production out yet. Like you're going to see some us probably listed with some guys that average like 9 or 10 points or whatever at a lower level and be like, well, why is he getting an IU offer? Well, because DeVries knows that this guy isn't probably going to get a ton of playing time at IU, but if on the odd chance he fulfills his potential, he could very well get playing time,
Right.
right? And so we could very well see, IU start going after some guys that are, maybe a little bit looked down upon
Yeah. Oh,
comparatively
great.
to
Music to
the
my ears. I love that.
comparatively to the recruits and the portalers that IU's been looking at, most recently.
Well, I think that's wonderful because I tweeted this over on Indiana HQ during the national championship game. Like portal rankings, and again, it's not 24/7 sports' fault, but they don't mean anything in the sense
No,
that
I don't mean anything. No.
a player could be the best portal prospect for Indiana, but the 150th best portal prospect for UCLA or for Florida State or for
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So 24/7 Sports is doing their best to take a stab at it, but
Right.
a guy that plays for Houston may be completely useless at Indiana, or a guy that thrives in Indiana may be completely useless for Houston. Could you
Right.
envision watching
Exactly.
Umar Ballo play at Florida? No, like that wouldn't have worked
Mm-hmm.
based on how they play their offense and how they play their system. At the end of the day, there was just one top 10 portal prospect or high school prospect that played in the national championship game as far as the primary rotation pieces are concerned. But from Florida's standpoint and from Houston's standpoint, they probably feel like they got a bunch of top 10 guys, right? Kelvin Sampson is probably looking at Milos Uzan, who came out of Oklahoma, saying, hey, look, man, Uzan is the point guard I need to run my stuff.
Yeah.
Todd Golden would have seen Elijah Martin, who was 129th in the portal rankings out of FAU. And Todd Golden would have said, hey, look, man, Elijah Martin's a guy that plays exactly the type of basketball that I want out of my off ball guard here at Florida.
That was just absurd, by the way, that he was 129th in the rankings last year.
It is, but like, if, Elijah Martin went to Purdue, I don't know if he would have been as useful, right? So, like, it's one of those
True.
things where it's one of those things where the coach has to have the vision and that mindset to really bring a player in and to recruit him strong and to, make sure you're paying him the right amount and doing all those things. I liked your points that you
Right.
made about DeVries as far as his portal strategy. For me, couple things that stood out. All the major commits have just 1 year remaining. Um,
Mm.
Trent Sisley obviously has multiple years left as an incoming freshman, but right now the roster is full of 1 year guys and Trent Sisley. So I'm anticipating that DeVries adds players that have multiple years left for
That's what
roster
I'm saying.
spots 7, 8, 9,
Yeah.
10, 11. Um, Obviously a lot of guard heavy basketball. I'm noticing that Darian DeVries isn't just spamming offers to everyone who enters the portal. Like he's very calculated in his approach as in terms of who he wants to go and get as far as the
Yeah, because
portal
he's
is
building a
concerned.
team. He's building a team. He's looking
Building a
for
team
pieces.
with a vision, with an identity, with a mindset. And that vision, identity, mindset, by the way, I think it's guard heavy. You play through the perimeter, you play with versatile
Mm.
players across the board who can do numerous things, who are dynamic, who can make the opponent uncomfortable in many, many different ways. Um, yeah, and the last thing
I
I
was
said is
I was told college was a big game. That's what I was told by a former IU coach. That's what I was told. Love, no,
true,
I say
very
that
true,
in jest, but you
sure.
know, I really do think I don't appreciate the vitriol that Woody got from the fan
No,
base.
I mean his big
Um,
man factory was legit.
yeah, it was, and it gave us some of the best moments I've had in IU sports since I was there as a student. So, um, yeah,
I mean,
it is what it
if
is. But I'm so excited for this. I'm
the
so excited
teams
for
that the
guard.
teams that the teams that owned Indiana in the Woodson era. It's funny because like the teams that own Indiana like don't really have fans, right? Like Northwestern people aren't like going crazy on
Rutgers,
social media. Yeah, like
Rutgers fans aren't
Nebraska,
really a thing.
Iowa,
Yeah.
Rutgers, like Penn State was a menace to Indiana until this past season.
Oh,
Like
that was
it's
not
all these
fun when I
fan
lived.
bases that yap. You don't really
Oh no,
you don't really have much of an argument. Like Indiana beat Michigan State last year in Breslin. Like, like you know, Indiana it's just really funny to see those types of things. And yeah, the last one or two things I had about DeVries here, I wrote down positionless. Um, it's kind of what you were saying. He's recruiting skill sets rather than, oh, I need a
mm,
guard here, I need a forward here, I need a center here. And then the last thing, DeVries did not make any connections at West Virginia. That's what I learned. I I mean, he brought over the strength coach, who came with him from Drake, I believe, through West Virginia. Um, and then
yeah,
like I don't know if I'm forgetting. I think Nick Norton, the new assistant, was
Nick
also a
Norton
Drake
was
guy.
there.
He's a Drake guy. The Bradley assistant, who's now something, an off the court staff member, Mike
Was a
Bargan,
Brad was a
was a Bradley
yeah
guy,
bargain.
Missouri Valley
Yeah,
guy. I mean, he,
I mean
I
to
don't know. I don't
to
know
be
what
fair,
his favorite thing was at West Virginia. I don't know what he appreciated the most during his 1 year
the
there.
paycheck.
Hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know his son and the paycheck,
But
but
again, his son's a Drake, guy, Iowa Drake,
no,
like
I he wasn't there long enough for him to make connections. And people, there's some West Virginia fuck.
Yeah.
That's gonna sorry. Some West Virginia person. Oh my gosh, they have to bleep out me twice in this podcast. There's some
Whew.
West Virginia person that is going to find this clip on our podcast and be like, "Well, I knew Tucker was faking his injury,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
because of you, because you just
they're in shambles.
insinuated he was 1 foot out the door."
They're in shambles. I do think they made a nice hire in Ross
I mean, I
Hodge,
don't blame. I
um,
don't.
out of North Texas. Who,
I
by the
don't blame
way,
them though. They live in West Virginia.
I do like the guy that they hired, Ross Hodge from North Texas. Um,
Ah,
it's funny, you know, you get all butt hurt about Indiana talking to your coach during the season. At least we waited until after your season ended to make the hire, unlike you. When you made the announcement official, wow, Ross Hodge was still coaching his team in the NIT. So
you're speaking too
let's
much
not
sense.
be hypocritical. Let's maybe think about that today. That's
You're
the that's
you're
the
speaking
that's the
too much
lesson of the
sense.
day.
You're speaking too much sense for a fan base
Sorry.
that has the
Yeah,
collective IQ of twelve
yeah,
point
for sure.
six. Yeah,
We'll wrap this thing up in a sec. Real quick though, a social media shout out. Folks, again, a reminder, if you enjoy our show, leave us a review, tell a friend, share our links. That kind of word of mouth support really helps us grow this podcast and reach more passionate IU fans such as yourself. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube as at Indiana HQ or at the Hoosier Sound. Man, on Instagram and on Indiana HQ, but what are we?
Indiana.HQ.
Exactly. You can find us there. Again, grow, join the masses, grow our following if you can. Numbers keep going up. So we appreciate those of you that have joined and that have supported us to this point. Portal season's crazy, folks. It just keeps rolling right along. Any final thoughts here on your end, Matt, as we wind down here on this Wednesday? Five guys on the roster. Luke Goody will
About to be
see
six.
nothing official. Tate and Conaway will see nothing official, although there's a lot of smoke. Um, any closing thoughts on your end?
I mean, nice the ball finally got rolling. It's nice to be back on podcasting with you. It's gonna be nice to be going to bed because it's about to be midnight and I gotta work tomorrow. Um, but no, I mean, like the things are coming together. I
Yeah.
think Ant's posting a video later um, on Wilkerson, so you guys can look out for that. If you made it to the end of the podcast, it's probably be out by the time you're all right. We're already talking about it.
Nice.
Um, I mean, I'm excited to kind of see where they go next, given that I feel like we've gotten most of the scoring done at this point in the roster. So, kind of, are we going more defensive minded for the rest of the additions? Are we going potential minded? I'm assuming probably a little bit of that.
Hmm.
Um, and where are they going? Are they going high major? Are they going low major? Are they going mid major? Are they going D1, D2, D, you know, community college? I don't, I'm interested to kind of see what level they are going to, um, and whose connections they are. That's also something again with a lot of
Yeah.
the new staff coming in. Kind of who's getting the say and who's actually getting their people into the program will be a thing that I'll be keeping an eye on for over the next couple of weeks.
Makes total sense. Yeah. I mean, to me, one of the questions we've talked about on this podcast for the last, I don't know, really since the NIL era, so we'll say like the last 2, 3 years, was just like, who is really calling the shots? Who is really running the program as far as Indiana men's basketball is concerned? Like, I know Signetti runs IU football. I know Terry Morin runs women's basketball. It's just felt like over the last few years, there have been a lot of voices that have had a vote in what's going on with men's basketball. And I do feel like with the moves DeVries has made over the first month of portal season, like I feel like DeVries is building his team. Like he's building his roster. He's playing his style of basketball that he wants to play, that he feels like can be successful over the course of the college basketball season, Big Ten season. You see it with the guard play, with the versatility, with the perimeter. I watched Drake play in person when DeVries was the head coach, when they faced Miami in the round of 64 before Indiana faced Kent State in Albany a couple years ago. That was Indiana's last NCAA tournament win. Like Drake played that style of basketball. You play it through the
Yeah.
guards. You have a big or two that can grab rebounds, that can get up and down the floor, play with energy, play with effort, but you play through your backcourt. And it doesn't matter if you're 6 feet tall or 6'2" or 6'4", or in Tucker DeVries' case, he's 6'7". But like those guys run the show. They got to be able to shoot. They got to be able to pass. They got to be able to rebound. They got to be able to switch. They got to be able to help. That's what DeVries is building. I can see it. And I know he talked about it, but Archie Miller and Mike Woodson have both said things during press conferences that they actually didn't practice.
Yeah,
And I
true.
see DeVries doing that. And so I don't know if Indiana's going to make the NCAA tournament this upcoming season. We'll see what the roster looks like overall. But I love this core of Tucker DeVries, Lamar Wilkerson, Reed Bailey, Connor Enright. It's a mix of players that can succeed, especially at Indiana. And I'm looking forward to watching them this upcoming
Yes,
season.
sir.
But folks, that about wraps it up for episode 344 of the Hoosier Sound. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your support. To hear more fantastic episodes like the one you heard today, be sure to follow us at Indiana HQ. You don't miss any in the future. Or you can go to our website, indianahq.com, to find it all in one place. But as always, thank you for listening, Hoosier Nation, and we will see you next time.
Peace and love. Go Hoosiers.